It appears Austin Romine has the inside track on the backup job. He joins us now on the phone. And Austin, I wanted to ask you about your off-season workouts, because I remember you telling me last year that your brother Andrew, who is an infielder with the Detroit Tigers, took you through some torturous workouts. Have they continued in this off-season?
Oh, they absolutely have. You know, I owe a lot to my brother. We got together a couple off seasons ago, and we really wanted to, zone in our training for spring training so we can come in ready to go on all cylinders. And my brother takes it to another level, so I knew he was the right man to go to. And they are continuing, and they are hard, and it's kind of what we need to do to get ready for the spring.
You were ready last year in 2016. You spent the entire season with the Yankees. After first getting your taste of the major leagues in 2011, this was the first time you spent the full year at the major leagues. How satisfying, how rewarding was that for you?
Well, it was very rewarding. After the year before that, getting passed up, getting overlooked, so to say. I wanted to restructure my life and the way I approached baseball, and I did that in the off season with my brother's help. And I just wanted to stay positive. Baseball's a tough sport. You fail 30, 70, 80% of the time. So it's how you react from the failure, and I wasn't going to let them keep me down. So I put a little chip on my shoulder and kept it there and kept busting my butt.
I remember one of the things you told me was that you were going to relax and just play and really sort of let the mental side of things take care of themselves. Was that a big part of why you succeeded last year, too?
Yes, and also being comfortable in the big leagues. Coming up, it's hard to get limited chances to show what you can do, and if you don't, that's just how it goes sometimes. But coming up the second time, I told myself I was going to have fun. I was going to look up and see the stadiums rather than just try and keep my head down and do my job. I was going to have fun with it. Baseball's a fun sport, and when I had fun with it, good things happened, and I was able to relax and do my job when I was called upon.
Austin, there were a couple of times last year where manager Joe Girardi talked about your perseverance and talked about how you were a guy who was designated for assignment, left off the 40-man roster, and yet you kept yourself motivated, got back to the major leagues. What kept you motivated during the darkest times?
My family. My family. My family's my backbone. It's my rock. I sat down with them, and, we decided that baseball is what I love doing. It's what I enjoy doing, and that nothing's going to keep me from doing it. And when you got a structure like that behind you, it's easy to succeed in any aspect of life.
Every catcher loves to talk about defense, so I want to ask you about your defensive strengths. What do you think as a catcher that you need to do to make your pitcher comfortable, to make sure you're attacking the opposing hitters, slowing the running game down? How do you see yourself defensively?
I see that's the number one thing that's on my list every time I go into camp, go into the season. I am a catcher, and being a backup catcher, you got to be, the best. You got to be ready to go. Calling a game, having the respect of the pitching staff. The biggest compliment you can get as a catcher is having a pitcher want to throw to you. So every time I go out, I want every pitcher to want to throw to me. And I just let them know that I'm ready. I'm ready when I get in there. I've watched the tape. I've done the homework, and I'm ready to go with them.
And how about from the offensive standpoint, Austin? You look at your situation, and those at-bats are going to be scattered. And we go into 2017. We know Gary Sanchez is going to play an awful lot. How do you keep yourself ready offensively so that you can produce?
I mean, that's the key question. That's one of the toughest things to do, to be able to hit big league pitching every 5-6 days. It's a tough job, but you know what? You got to be ready. It is what it is. I know player time is going to be limited, as it was last year towards the end. But you know what? You got to stay ready underneath in the cage. You got to be doing your work. You got to do more work when you're not playing than when you are. It's kind of funny, but I found a formula that worked for me last year. I'm going to try and implement it again, and we'll see what kind of success we get from it.
Girardi used you at first base a little bit last year, too, as well. Do you see that as part of your future? And if the Yankees needed you to get a couple of reps over there at first, do you think that's something you can handle going forward?
Well, absolutely. It only helps my career to be able to play multiple positions. My brother's doing that over in Detroit for them. There's players around the league that we had Correa do that for us last year. Anytime that you can play multiple position, it just helps you out in the end, and it helps the team out in the end. I can play first. I feel more comfortable with a lot of gear on, but I can play first base if they need me to do it. So it's nice to be able for them to have that option, maybe get you in a lineup a little bit here and there. And, it happened a couple of times last year, and I was able to produce from that side, too.
I'm glad you brought up Andrew's versatility. He played every position on the diamond last year, including pitcher, except catcher, your position. Did you tease him about that in the offseason at all?
Yeah, he says he can do it. I mean, if you talk to that kid, there's nothing he can't do. So, I mean, I do bag on him. I mean, everybody thinks they can catch until they put the gear on and they're catching 104 and it's moving. So we'll let everybody think that until they get to catch that. But, yeah, I'll bag on him a little bit. But, you know, he's the athletic one. He's the shortstop, so I don't go too far with it.
Final question, Austin. Spring training about 6 weeks away. You know the kind of pitchers that you're going to be catching. Yankees still figuring out the rotation. Very formidable bullpen. What do you think about the staff that you'll be catching in 2017?
You know, it's always exciting. The front office always does an amazing job of putting together a bullpen and talented pitchers from bringing them in from other places. I'm interested every time I go into spring training to see the new life, the new arms, and the new movement. There's a lot more movement in the game going on today, so at a higher rate of velocity. So it's always interesting to go into camp and see what certain guys got. But Yankees always do exactly what they should to